So, welcome everybody. I think that you all know me at this point, but I am Rachel Justice, and along with my partner, Jillian Levinson, we co lead the Woman to Woman program. And this is a particularly exciting day because this is the launch of a brand new group, which I always love. Really, really exciting. And I want to say a huge thank you to Audrey Carlson, who is one of our survivor volunteers, who is my partner in this project. It is very much a group effort here, and you're going to hear from her in a few minutes about why she wanted to do this and kind of what the motivation for this group is. But as always with a new group, I just want to read the description so you know why you're here and kind of what the goal is to differentiate this from the many, many other groups that we offer throughout the month. So the goal of this group is really kind of built into the title, which is just called Thriving with Woman to Woman. So I'm going to read the description. And actually, I really love this quote that we have that's in part of the blast that we sent out. So it's a quote from the amazing Maya Angelou. And it is, the question is not how to survive, but how to thrive with passion, compassion, humor, and style. And I think that really actually does sum up what the goal of this group is, how to thrive with passion, compassion, humor, and style. So again, that was written by Maya Angelou. The other description Audrey and I wrote, so obviously we cannot compete with Maya Angelou, but I'm going to read that anyway. So the purpose of this new monthly group is to help you nurture the non-cancer aspects of your life and thrive despite challenges. Navigating a cancer diagnosis and survivorship can feel like a full-time job. It can easily overtake your life and be the lens through which you view all of your experiences and interactions. However, you are extraordinary women with interests, hobbies, passions, fears, dreams, and so much more. You all deserve to feel happy and fulfilled. And this group is co-led by Audrey Carlson, who is a woman-to-woman volunteer and founder of the Hartford Happiness Club, which you will hear about. And it's going to alternate guest speakers, wonderful, wonderful guest speakers, and topic-driven discussions to help participants learn how to achieve balance so you can not just survive, but thrive. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to then turn the virtual mic over to Audrey so she can introduce herself and again talk a little bit more about the motivation behind this group, and that she will introduce our wonderful, wonderful speaker, Trish Walden, who we are so fortunate and honored to have with us here today. In terms of questions, you can pop questions in the chat. You can physically raise your hand, do the hand raising feature. I'm going to be Trish's sous chef and sort of, get those queued up for her. But we're really, really, really happy to have you all here today and excited that you're beginning this journey of this new group with us, which will be every month. So Audrey, you have the floor.
Well, first of all, thank you, Rachel and Jillian, for doing the work you do, because you connect women from all over into basically an organization where people who are going through any of the gynecological cancers feel like they have a connection with someone who understands with what they're going through. And it has been empowering and it has been comforting, and every human emotion you can tap into, I have felt with being a part of this. So to take it one step further, it is just a little over a year that I am post-cancer free after my ovarian cancer and my chemo, and I'm very, very grateful for all of that. A number of years ago, I actually went through a graduate program with Dr. Bernie Siegel, who continues to be my mentor, who shapes my life and helps navigate other women who continue to go through cancer and life's challenges. That being said, my next step was to study positive psychology with Tal Ben-Shahar. And that's when I met Trish. I wanted to have yet one more connection where I had a buddy that I could have like a roomie. And we did the program together. And at the very end of our program, which cultivated a deeper relationship and continues to, because we find sisters wherever we can, of course, I needed a culmination project, which ended up to be a happiness club, which are 1,000 around the world of free monthly meetings on Zoom and live, all under the topics of positive psychology, anything from how to navigate through life with challenges, or a personal story of grit, of resilience, of understanding regret or forgiveness, or perhaps just humor. And Trish and I have decided to just continue our journey together as lifelong learners. Trish, however, has taken it even a few more steps further, and she'll explain to you the coaching and the work she continues to do. And we're blessed today to have Trish with us. So I want to introduce my dear friend and my sister, Trish Walden. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. And I want to comment that, well, thank you both, Rachel and Audrey, for having me here today. I consider it to be a really sweet gift for a lot of reasons. And I've lived long enough to come to believe that there aren't a lot of accidents in this life, and that if we show up with our hearts open and our minds open, you know, we discover that there is a pattern, there is a rhythm. And so being here with you today is not an accident, in my opinion, and I'm very grateful. And I want to comment that we do have one guy in the room, and I know this guy. His name is Lionel Ketchen, and he's very comfortable with the gals, and you will be very comfortable with him in the room as well. He is actually the original founder of the Happiness Club, and was a lot of the inspiration that Audrey had to set up her Happiness Club in Hartford. And he's just gone through, I hope it's okay with him, I know it's okay with him, he's just gone through a big medical procedure with open heart surgery. So yeah, you definitely have a place in this room, Lionel, and welcome. So today I'm gonna be sharing a slide presentation with you, and technology is not my strong suit, so bear with me. Okay. All right. So I thought we would begin with just a little bit of centering, and I find that that's really helpful to me. Our lives are busy. We have a million priorities. You're thinking about what happened before this moment, what might be happening after this moment. So if we can just together close our eyes and just take a couple of deep kind of cleansing breaths in and blow it out. Kind of feel your seat in the chair that you're sitting in and your feet on the floor. If you notice any tension in your body, sort of direct your breath into that place of tension. Take another deep breath in and blow it out, and come into this room and be with us together. We're going to be together for the next 45 minutes or so, and we're going to explore some new ideas, perhaps. This is a very brief agenda. We're coming together, as Rachel and Audrey said, as women who are thriving together, plus Lionel. And part of what we're going to do is share our stories and know that we're not alone. I want everybody here to know that whatever you share is confidential, and that you can see this as a very safe place. Share whatever is comfortable for you, and don't feel as if you have to share anything that you're not ready to. So, so we're going to be doing some sharing today as well. Also about mental fitness and gratitude, two practices that have changed my life for the better. And I hope that that you'll see the opportunity that you have as well. And we're also going to share what's working well in our lives. What are we grateful for? What is happening in our lives that is working? So next. So how do we live with greater ease and flow, even though around us the world may feel like it's falling apart? I think especially now. If COVID taught us nothing else, it taught us that life is uncertain and that we can't necessarily predict what's going to happen around the next corner, but we can always figure out how we want to show up. So, as Audrey mentioned, my latest passion has been in the work of mental fitness. Shirzad Shamin owned the biggest coaching business in the world before he founded Positive Intelligence. And it is a mental fitness program that helps us live with greater ease and flow no matter what is happening around us. And it is based on the science of neuroscience and neuroplasticity and the fact that we can actually change our thoughts. So, mental fitness is defined as our capacity to respond to life's challenges with a positive rather than a negative mindset. And this is Positive Intelligence's website. And I would encourage you, if you have a piece of paper, write it down. This is directly from their website, that our mind is our best friend, but it can also be our worst enemy. And Shirzad makes a pretty bold statement here. He says, all our negative emotions, including stress, are the result of self-sabotage. And when I first heard that, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not trying to self-sabotage. I'd like to be happy. I don't want to think negative thoughts. I don't want to be in a state of fear or shame or blame or whatever. But the more I've studied positive intelligence, the more I've realized that this is actually true. We do have an opportunity to change our thoughts. We can't control them coming in, but we can decide what we want to do with them. The good news is, if we understand why and when we self-sabotage, we can learn how not to do that. And again, this is research-based science. This is not just a great idea. It's actually been proven out in research and science. We are wired for survival. The part of our brain that holds all of these negative thoughts is there for a reason. It's in the back of our brain. It's called the amygdala. And it allowed the survival of our species. If we didn't have an awareness that there was danger out there, we would not have lived very long. When the saber-toothed tiger came around the corner, early man would be gone, and it would have wiped out the race. So there's a reason for why we have this part of our brain that carries negative thinking. And because of neuroplasticity, we can manage it very differently than maybe we are today, just by learning some new habits. What Shirzad discovered is that everyone has an inner judge, and that inner judge judges ourselves as coming up short in some way. It judges other people, and it judges our situation, our circumstance, through a negative lens. What Shirzad also discovered is that we all have these parts inside of us. I mean, have you ever had a situation where you said, oh, there's a part of me that just doesn't want to do this? Or there's a part of me that is just so afraid that this is not going to turn out well. Those parts are actually saboteurs, and they can show up and derail our thinking if we are not wise to them. And this whole program of mental fitness helps us to discover when the judge is speaking, when the saboteurs are speaking, and how to manage them better. The great news is that we all have an inner sage as well, and that is where our peace lives, where our creativity, our compassion, our courage, our curiosity, all of those fabulous emotions and experiences live in our sage brain. And scientists have actually discovered that that's in the prefrontal cortex of our mind. And we can, through focused exercises, learn how to reroute negative thinking into our sage mind. And it all begins with being present in this moment. So as I mentioned, the saboteur mindset has to do with judging things through a negative lens. Our sage mindset says that in every situation, we can find a gift and an opportunity. Life is not against us, even when it may feel that way. Life is a gift. and it is here for our greatest and highest good. So again, how do we do this? How do we build new neural pathways to this more peaceful part of our brain? It begins with awareness, understanding our thoughts, and learning to recognize the voice of the inner critic. I mean, everybody can relate to the situation where you're driving along and somebody cuts you off. And what do you automatically think? You idiot, what's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? Have you ever had a situation where you were judging yourself harshly? Or certainly all of us who have had a cancer diagnosis have been in that situation where we hate the situation that we're in, where we hate the circumstance that we're dealing with. So it begins with awareness. By building a daily practice of strengthening our self-command through focused exercises, we can build new neural pathways to that voice of our sage. So on the website that I shared with you, if you scroll down, there's a place on the website where you can discover your own personal saboteurs. There are 9 of them, and they actually come out of our strengths, our original, natural, God-given strengths. So in my case, these are my 9 saboteurs in order of how they show up in my life. People pleaser, hyperachiever, and stickler are my top 3. Stickler is also known as the perfectionist. And for most of my adult life, I thought I needed these characters in my head to help me succeed. I thought I needed their advice and their support and whatever. In fact, what I've since learned is that they are helpful in bringing my attention to a given situation, but in terms of driving the bus of my life, not so much. I have discovered that my sage, with its sage powers, is much more powerful in helping to guide me to higher ground and better thinking. So those sage powers are empathy. That's self-compassion and compassion for others. Exploration. How do we face a situation with curiosity instead of judgment? When I think about that person who triggers me, that person who always just kind of hits my button, how can I shift from, oh my God, what was she thinking, to, I wonder what is happening with her that she behaved in that way? It's a very different way to show up. Innovation when we're facing a problem. What kind of creativity can we tap into? Okay, so the answer that we wanted isn't there, but how can I creatively find a different answer, a better answer? One of the most powerful things we can do when we're facing any crossroad is to navigate. That's also a sage power. What would my older, wiser self say? Sometimes when I'm not sure whether I should take on this task or that task, or say yes to this or no to that, I'll ask that question. I'll say, well, what does the 100-year-old woman say? What does my older, wiser self say? It can be extremely clarifying. And last but not least, the sage power of activation. This is being laser focused on what action is going to make the greatest difference in aligning with my values and my beliefs. So instead of operating out of these saboteur-based thoughts, if we can shift to operating out of our sage powers, guess what's going to happen? We're going to be happier, we're going to have more joy, we're going to have more peace. All of us have a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. What we want to cultivate is more of a growth mindset. And this came out of the work of Carol Dweck, who wrote a book on growth mindset. And what we've learned is because of neuroplasticity, we can actually shift our thinking. Instead of believing, well, this is just the way I am, or I can't change. This is the way I think. This is the way my mother was. This is the way my grandmother was. This is the way my father was. My whole family is this way. That's a fixed mindset. A growth mindset is I can learn new things. When I fail, there's an opportunity there. The whole idea of mental fitness is built around the growth mindset that in any situation, no matter what it is, we can find a gift and an opportunity. And I love the work of Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he wrote a book called The Power of Now. And there are many, many quotes if you're really looking for something that helps you to come back into this moment and stay out of the past and stay out of the future, which we have no control over at this point. Stay in the present moment. Accept, then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if we had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. Make it your friend and ally, not your enemy. This will miraculously transform your whole life. And another quote by him has to do with fear. And of course, if we're facing a life-threatening illness, we're going to be in fear. It's okay. We're not trying to get rid of all of our negative emotions or get rid of our humanity. We're just learning how to better use these tools to create greater ease and flow, happiness, peace, and joy in our lives. So we acknowledge the fear. We watch it, we take our attention to it, and we're present with it. By doing that, we actually cut the link between the fear and our thinking, and we don't let the fear get bigger. When we fight it, what happens? Sometimes it just grows bigger and bigger. I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to think about elephants. I'm not going to think about elephants. Guess what happens? So sometimes we have to lean into what is. Stop, go, yes, no is something I learned actually a number of years ago at an Oprah conference. And sometimes when I'm in that present moment and I'm kind of thinking about what do I want tomorrow to look like, if you make a T graph, just a cross in the middle of a paper and put stop at one side, go at the other, yes at the bottom, and no on the other side, and then begin to fill in based on what brings you joy, what brings you insight, what brings you pleasure. What do you no longer want to do? What wastes your time? What is a habit that you're ready to let go of? What is something that is no longer serving you? Make a picture of it. Sometimes when we plant those seeds in our mind, it's as simple as stop, go, yes, no. Then our mind wants to be right, so it will guide us to creating the reality we most want to live. Audrey mentioned at the beginning that we studied with Tal Ben-Shahar, and one of the things that he taught us was that in every moment we have a choice. And I love this poem by this excerpt from Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and it has made all the difference. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, and I'm going to ask you to put into the chat some things that fill your bucket. Just kind of popcorn out. What are some things that fill your bucket? I know for me, my puppy is one of them. Spending time with my friend Audrey is another one. Say Naomi also has a dog that she adores. What else? What fills your bucket? Autumn weather with your dog. Music, connections, doggies. I see a theme here with doggies. My children, swimming, doing yoga, reading, music, gratitude, texting with your nephews, Cynthia, family, friends, music, walking, meditation. Feeling that you've accomplished something valuable at the end of the day. Cooking, dinner party, family, friends, reading, grandpuppies. Anybody have a kitty cat? So we know what fills our bucket. And if we think about our yes, no, stop, go, if we say yes to more of those things that fill our bucket, if we start doing more of those things and continue to do the things that are filling our bucket, we need that, especially if we're facing a life-threatening illness or issue, or if we're breathing, because I think everybody who is breathing is facing something, right? You know, there's something going on. If it's not with us personally, it's with somebody we love. So it's critically important that at all times, but especially when we're in stressful times, that we are filling our buckets. We also know what drains our bucket. Make a list of those things as well and try to do as little of it as you can. And some of those things, sometimes it's a saboteur in our mind that is telling us, well, we have to do that because we've always done it and they expect us to do it. This is a little chart that you can use to create your bucket fillers and your bucket drainers. And I'm going to stop screen share for a second here as well. Skip that. And this is something that Audrey and I learned from Tal. And he wrote a book, 10% Happier. And it's not nearly as complicated as we might think it is. As we are building our pathway to greater happiness, it's wonderful to be able to, whoops, let me just get out of that. Stop screen sharing. Okay, here we are. So in order to be 10% happier, is there something that you could do that maybe you pulled from your yes, no, stop, go, or maybe a bucket filler? And I'm just going to ask people to jump in and share something that you would do that would make you 10% happier, just an idea or a couple of ideas.
Can I jump in?
Yes, please, Audrey.
Okay. So for me, anything that I can do where I get lost in time is where I need to be. I can get lost in piano and music. I can get lost with a friend in an deep conversation. It could be almost anything, as long as you recognize it and you carve out no less than 10% of the day to fill your own bucket with it. So for me, that would be something that people can think about. Yeah.
That's a great one. You know, I think we are wired to be out in nature.
Yes.
And even when the weather is not great, to commit to spending 10 minutes outside in nature can be a tremendous boost to our immune system, to our positive hormones, you know, just a great thing to do. Mm-hmm. What else? Cynthia?
I was just agreeing. I was just agreeing. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Any other thoughts? What would make you 10% happier? What do you think?
Someone put in the chat, get more sleep. So
yes.
You saw that.
Yes. Yeah. And whatever that takes, sometimes it's taking naps. I also learned from Tal that an afternoon 15-minute nap can be a huge difference maker. Mm-hmm. For those of us who are still working, you might have to close your door to do that. But yeah, M. Fedden, not dealing with customer service reps is a major bucket drainer. So avoiding dealing with customer service reps. That's you can delegate things to other people who don't mind doing some of that stuff. You know, my husband and I have learned what each other is better at, and there are things that he finds are not difficult at all. They don't drain his bucket, but for me, they might. What else? Andrea?
walking into a classroom and being with my students. They're very demanding, and you have to get out of your own way in order to address their needs. So you kind of not forget, but put your needs aside and work with them.
So is that a bucket drainer and a bucket filler for you, Andrea?
For me, it's a filler.
It's a filler.
I love my students.
That's awesome. And, one of the clients that I work with happens to be a university professor. And when she started the mental fitness program, she would say, oh, I'm dreading it. September is coming up around the corner. And, she was really focused on the students that trigger her. 80 to 90% of the students are students that she adores and loves. She's been going through this mental fitness program, and actually, I just sense a lightness about her. Audrey, I think you met Sean.
Yes.
And she's just welcoming it as you are, Andrea. So same circumstance, different lens, different perspective. And that's what mental fitness is about, really cultivating that different lens. We didn't change the circumstance. We just changed the way we think about it. Any other examples? Okay. We have such a short period of time. I hope that you will go back and kind of find your own bucket fillers and keep working with that, because it is going to make a difference in how we show up. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing. There we go.
You're doing great, Trish. You're doing great.
Thank you. Actually, I think I just lost my other. Oh, okay.
Well, we didn't lose you.
Okay, that's good. All right, so we've talked about that, and we've talked about that. And gratitude. How many of you have a gratitude
Trish, I'm
practice?
sorry, we don't see your slides. I don't know if you're
Okay. All right. You know what? I'm gonna jump away from that.
Do you want me to put your slides up for you with that, and then
Nope,
you can
it's okay. I think I'm just gonna come back to you guys, and I'm gonna talk about a gratitude practice. How many of you have a gratitude practice? Just show by raising your hand. Couple. Okay. So what is a gratitude practice? Audrey, you raised your hand. Maybe you could share, what is your gratitude practice?
Well, mine begins before I even get out of bed. I'll be very honest with you. It is a practice that I started 20 years ago. And it's basically this simple. There's that place that we all know that we transition from that deep place of sleep, deep sleep, into the awareness or consciousness that we know that we are awake. At that moment, if you're awake, you know you're alive. I haven't moved. I haven't wiggled my toes. I haven't moved at all. And at that one moment, because I have faith, I say, thank you, God, I'm alive. Then what I do is I start to breathe into the count of 6, love. The first breath in is love. I start with loving myself, and I breathe out love to someone else in this world, because we all share the same air, that I'm sending love to someone. So I'm appreciating the fact that I'm alive, and I'm sharing that with someone else. Then what I do is I start to go through the list of all the things I'm grateful for and how I want to get through my day, with attaching an emotion with gratitude, that I can take care of myself. I don't need anyone to take care of me. I have what I need and what I want. I have love all around me. And I just start to list all the things that so many of us don't give enough consideration to. The fact that I can walk, I can see, I can hear, and it just keeps growing and growing in the people in my life. And it just starts out from the minute I get out of bed, and it paves the way to happiness, because it starts with gratitude.
Yeah. I have heard it said that if you are in total gratitude, or if you are in a moment where you're thinking about that puppy or that grandchild or that child or that loved one, and you are grateful for that individual in your life, that it is very difficult to be in a negative mindset. So gratitude is like a key, like a magic key that opens up that part of our mind, that part of our brain where all of our positive emotions reside. So if there is nothing else that you get out of this particular talk today, I really want to encourage you to develop a gratitude practice. And one of the best ways to do it, I've found, is to have a pad by the side of your bed. And as Audrey said, start your day in the morning, writing down 3 things that you're grateful for. If you're a hyperachiever like I am, you might want to do it at night as well as in the morning. Nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that it's something that you can commit to. And as we said earlier, that 10% happier, if you commit to a 30-day gratitude practice where you're just going to say for the next 30 days, if 30 days seems like too much for you, 3 days, break it down into 3 days, then go another 3 days. Before you know it, you will have gone a month. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for. You can repeat them, but I find it's even more effective if you go deeper and deeper and deeper and find something new in each day that you're grateful for. I also find, have any of you had difficulty sleeping as you're going through what you're going through? Absolutely. I had a night before last. I just could not stay asleep. And because I've been studying mental fitness, I knew that there was a gift or an opportunity in not being able to sleep. And the opportunity and the gift that I grabbed onto was doing my gratitudes. And then I did, as Audrey said, I breathe in, take a deep breath in, I breathe out. I breathe in gratitude, I let go of anxiety. I breathe in hope, I let go of fear. Whatever it is, attach it to your breath. Is everybody here breathing? I just want to check on that because, okay, everybody's breathing. So you are able to breathe and you can actually control your breath to some extent. The power of connecting to your breath is so important to bring us back into this moment. And it is in this moment where peace lives. Peace resides in the moment that we are connected with. And if we attach gratitude to that, I guarantee you're going to be more than 10% happier on a day-to-day basis.
Trish, I'm not sure if you see Naomi has her hand up.
Naomi, yes.
You just have to unmute yourself, Naomi. Okay, perfect.
Hi, Naomi.
Unfortunately, we still can't hear you, Naomi.
Yeah, I can see you're unmuted. Maybe is your microphone off? Yeah, microphone might be off.
Yeah. Or maybe you're not
Sometimes it's
connected
the
to audio.
volume.
Yeah, sometimes there's.
Does that work?
Yes, yay.
Oh, okay. All right. Look at that. Yeah, I don't have anywhere near as sophisticated or formal a practice as that. I just try to look at something every day that does make me happy because I know I've done a lot over the last few years. Some small things and some larger things, and I just try to remind myself that like there are things that can make me smile. Sometimes it feels really fake. Sometimes I'm just going through the motions and it's almost like I'm saying one thing, but in my head, I'm still thinking, I'm annoyed by that, or I feel upset about that. But yeah, I just try and pull myself back. And, it was a bit of a joke putting everything in the chat about like what fills my bucket. Everything is with my dog. But it's not altogether untrue. It's probably a little unhealthy, but
I disagree, but go ahead.
well, so much of my happiness and my contentedness and my peace with things does revolve around her right now. which it is a bit problematic because I'm not going out except with her and things like that. But yeah, if I find myself slipping, then I kind of just shut everything else out and sit down with her and like cuddle her, or she'll have this little habit of sitting and facing me, and we're almost eye to eye when she's on the sofa, and I'll just talk to her, which is brilliant about working from home because she's right there. So yeah, so I just sort of like, I talk to her and I talk about, it just sounds really stupid, but I moved in April and I now have my own outdoor space. And I can go out on the patio and sit with her there in the freezing cold wind. But, you know, that is huge for me. Since moving to Manhattan 13 years ago, I have not had my own space where I could sit like with her off her leash and not think about anything else. Like, it's our little outdoor space. And that's huge. So, you know, I try to remind myself that there are some big changes I've made that have had a really positive influence. Yeah, sometimes I feel like all I'm doing is not addressing the things that I need to address to really make some more significant changes. But I don't know. I hook onto what I can sometimes just to feel that there is hope.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You know, one of the other things that I learned from Tal Ben-Shahar is that we need to give ourselves permission to be human. And that means, you know, we are not robots and we don't do things perfectly. And even though we may have saboteurs or thoughts in our head that tell us, well, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. Anytime we hear a should, there's a saboteur behind that. Yeah. You know, and there's also a sage that will tell us that we need to give ourselves permission to be human. So I think we'll take a minute. We've only got a couple of minutes before we close. Hi, Lionel.
Hi.
Looking good.
When you have a chance, I would love to make a comment whenever that fits in.
Right now is a good time.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having this, Rachel. This is incredibly beautiful. I really appreciate this opportunity that you're offering all of us. I want to share my love with all of you, especially with Audrey and Trish, dear friends of mine. And I'm listening to this presentation, and I can't tell you how valuable and incredibly important this is for all of us. I'm talking to you as a guy. I know it's woman to woman, but I'm talking from my feminine side and my human side. So, interesting when Trish talks about the present moment, living in peace, that draws me right in. And that's, I think, the essence of finding how human we truly are. In my own life, 2 weeks ago, I had a open heart surgery. And earlier this year, I had 8 weeks of radiation at Yale. So I've been dealing with cancer, open heart surgery, all these things. But, you know, the Happiness Club and the idea of gratitude and happiness and the work of Tal Ben-Shahar has allowed us all to realize we can not only be 10% happier, but we could probably fulfill things that are beyond our wildest dreams. And I will share with you that even though some might consider what I went through as difficult, I don't. And I don't because what I've been living with and dealing with is what I call joyful acceptance. I heard somebody, I think it was Trish maybe, who mentioned back years ago, something ended up being a gift. I look at everything in my life as a gift. Certainly the people in my life that I love, and includes all of you. But, you know, when you do look at things as a gift, you really take things differently. And I think, and also Trish mentioned Eckhart Tolle. You know, acceptance is such an incredible tool. And everything she's talking about is acceptance, because the opposite of acceptance is resistance. And when we're put in a position like I was, I'll give you a real life example. Ever since April, I've been telling the doctors I'm not feeling right. And they've been checking me, give me 3-hour heart stress test, and can't find anything. And then all of a sudden, there was a test done earlier this month. The doctor called me and said, go to Bridgeport Hospital immediately. Do not eat. If 2 platelets shift, you're dead. You need a bypass. And that was a big surprise, but a welcome one, because I said, oh, maybe we found the solution to my problem. I love solutions. So we did that. And I really never went through fear. I felt bad for my family that they had to witness this, be part of it. But you know something? With acceptance, we find out that we can truly live in peace in any given moment, because every moment will present itself. And living in this moment, no matter what it is in our lives, is a gift. So when we finally begin to learn that the gift of the moment is life, and that fear really only belongs there if we choose to let it in. So I live my life with 0 negativity and with 100% love for all of you, for my dear friends here. Audrey, I spoke to her today and she told me about this wonderful conference. Trish, I cannot thank you enough for the beautiful work you have made us more aware of. Thank you, my dear soul. I appreciate you so much. Love you so much. And
Thank you,
all of you.
Lionel. Thank you.
Thank you, Lionel. That was beautiful. And you
Thank
look
you.
amazing.
Yes. The world still needs you, Lionel. We've got to have you here. And if we are here, you know, with that as sort of, I know we're out of time, but if we are here, I believe that we're here for a reason. And finding that reason through our passion, through our love, through our hearts, not our minds, but through our hearts, is what is going to help heal us and create a better life for us today, tomorrow, and in the future. And I know, you know, I knew today was going to go by so fast, and it has. I put my email address in the chat, and I want to offer all of you an opportunity, if you're interested, to learn more about the mental fitness program that Shirzad Shamin offers, that I happen to be facilitating and teaching. Normally, it costs $995 to take the 7-week course. I want to offer it to each one of you for free. So if you would like to know more about that, if you would like to just learn more about it, find out, you know, how does that work? What is positive intelligence? I can set up a separate time to meet with you, or however many of you might be interested, I can set up a Zoom call and we can talk further about it. It is my privilege and my honor and my blessing to be able to offer that to you. So, and if the timing isn't right, that's fine too. I wish you all the very, very best. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you.
Trish, I don't know how to thank you for your time, your generosity, your knowledge, your wisdom, your love, and this gift that you're offering so many people, that it is just heartwarming. And I love you, and I love us, and I love Lionel and Rachel, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Trish, this was really, really incredibly special. And I can't think of a better way to kick off our series on thriving. I think there's so many important takeaways. I honestly think one of the most important things that I'm going to take away is this idea of just trying to be in the present moment, and, and whatever that means to you and however you can get there, and just kind of focusing on what's going on in the present moment. Because in this present moment, we're all together. We had great turnout for our first session of our group. Makes me super happy to have some folks that don't normally attend. I love seeing, faces that I haven't seen in a while, or names I don't know, because I think, again, it shows this is a topic that is of interest. please know that this is a brand new group. So we want your feedback. So please reach out to me at the womantowoman@mountsinai.org email address. And, what would you like to see? What does thriving mean to you? What type of topics would you like covered in this group? Is there a format that would work? And again, this is a work in progress, and Audrey and I will be co-leading this, and want to know that we are giving everyone whatever it is that you need to thrive. Again, Trish, you are fantastic. Sharing your personal story is so inspiring. I love some of the comments. Someone said, I feel like this meeting was a big hug. Thank you. And, looking forward to future sessions. People did also ask for your slides, if you don't mind sending them. So if you are comfortable sharing with me, Trish, if anyone wants the slides, just reach out to me and I can connect you, with Trish, or forward them directly to you. We hope that you take what we experienced here together today with you, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Again, we will be meeting every single month on the third
Yes.
Thursday of the month. So we look forward to seeing you all next month. And I think we might have
Tuesday.
I'm sorry, Tuesday of the month. So we look forward to seeing you then. And again, huge gratitude to you, Trish, and to you, Audrey, for
My pleasure.
make this possible.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you for everything. And this will be recorded.
Thank
and
you.
put in the library.
Bye, Rachel. Bye,
Thank you,
Trish.
everybody.
Bye, Lionel. Mwah. Love you all.